misconceptions, ideas, blockers, reasons they hold themselves back. We're going to go deep and we're going to talk to the one, the only Kevin King about what he's got going on and the state of events and just a bunch of stuff. I saw him a few days ago at Funnel Hacking and I was like, let's go live, Kevin. Let's talk about a few things. So, hello and
Hello,
welcome.
let's
How's it
go.
going?
I like that.
Let's
Let's go.
freaking go,
Let's
Kevin.
freaking
Let's do
go.
this.
LFG.
Yes. Okay.
It's
All
good
right.
to see you again.
So good to see you, Kevin. So Kevin is one of I'd say like my longest friends in this industry. I think we've been to more events together. Like you're just such a core part of our world, our industry. But I think, there's obviously some people that don't know who you are. So probably a brief background of who you are would not be a bad idea.
Sure. Yeah, we do go back. I think was it 2015 or maybe 2016? I thought probably 2015 actually. Yeah, we go back a long ways, but just like Athena and I go back, I go a long ways. I go back a long ways in this business. I've been selling online since before Google existed. So back when it was
Damn.
Lycos and Alta Vista and all these things. I took my first sale online like 1995, I think, is when I took my first credit card payment for selling something over the internet. I've been in direct marketing. That's my background. So I was doing stuff through the physical mail before that. Started selling on Amazon 2001. Started doing the FBA model in 2015. So I've been doing that 10 years. And then that evolved into, I have two podcasts now, one in the Amazon space called AMPM, one in the marketing space called Marketing Misfits. I do stuff for Helium 10. I do their training for new people called Freedom Ticket. 220,000 students have gone through that. I do their high level training called Elite, their Elite training called Helium 10 Elite. I do my own events, $1 billion seller summits, market masters, hot seat events, Elevate 360. I speak at a lot of events. I'm sure I'm forgetting something. I still sell. I'm still a seller, do 7 figures a year selling. And a bunch of other stuff. And then I see Athena all the time at different events because I think I think if you added it up, it's an interesting that you say that. Now that I think about it, I think we probably log the most miles going to events in this space between the two of us.
I'd agree 100%. Yeah.
And not just this space, not just the Amazon space that we're known for, but outside of the Amazon space too.
Hmm.
Uh,
Absolutely. And that kind of leads me to a core question, Kevin. Why events? What is so powerful to you that not only do you put on your own events and you've been attending events for, over a decade, but like, what is the core part of that that keeps you coming back for your own personal enhancement?
it's just to see you. I,
Cool.
I asked you out so many times. You said no, so I said, all right, I'll just go to events and I'll get to see her.
Kevin, that just got weird.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. We're friends,
Okay.
purely friends, just to clarify. Uh, but no, I go to events. One is I'm an avid learner. I love to learn, and so I go to events to learn. Some events you learn at, some events you don't learn anything from what's on stage. You learn stuff from in the hallway. I mean, the networking. I was just at dinner at the live. We were just at you and I were both at Funnel Hacking Live, and you had to fly out on Saturday, so you weren't able to join us. But Saturday night, I did a dinner and I invited a few people that I know, but I was like, you know what? I don't want to just have dinner all the time with people I know. It's cool to hang out with your friends and to see them, but I need to mix it up. So I went with some people that I knew, and then another guy that I met there. He's from Ukraine, and he saw me and said, "Hey, what are you doing tonight? I want to invite you to dinner." I was like, "No, I've already got dinner plans. How many of you are there?" And he's like, "There's one, just me." I said, "All right, cool. Why don't you join us?" And then he's like, "Well," he messaged me back. "Do you mind if my friend comes?" He's the main affiliate dude at ClickBank. He like oversees all the affiliates and all the training at ClickBank. I was like, yeah, bring him on. That's the guy I never met. So they come to dinner, and then we're talking. You meet this other guy, and you make a relationship because you're at dinner. You're there for 2 hours. You get to talk to people. It's not like hello in the hallway or something. And then the Ukrainian fellow was we started talking about AI and stuff, and he starts talking about, oh, here's a tactic that I'm doing right now. You should try this. And it blew me away, blew everybody at the table away. And I'm like, holy cow, that's brilliant. It's basic, but it's a brilliant way of doing something. And I'm like, I wouldn't have gotten that. It's good enough to win a hack contest. I mean, it's that good enough that like, you're on a major, like big time hack contest at at BDSS or Titan or one of these other events, you would win it with what he said. And you don't get that by sitting here, just doing your own thing or even watching things online, YouTube videos and stuff. Those are the main reasons. And then it's also it's a branding thing. I think you might agree with this too. Is like we're out there both of us have personal brands and we both have business brands. You with Titan and me with BDSS, and you're making connections and looking for new speakers or looking for new people that might be able to come into your network or into your join your group. And so it's a combination of all those things. And some people say, well, how do you get anything done if you're always traveling at events? And I say, I get a lot done. I just work a lot when I'm back. Yeah, I mean, you have kids, so you have kids and dogs. Right now, I don't have either, so I can do whatever. I'm pretty free, but it's a challenge sometimes, as you know.
Absolutely. So, okay, so Kevin, let's talk a little bit about the history of Amazon events because I've been in the industry for about 10 years. When I first got in, there were these massive, massive events. There's just so many different ones happening all the time. And then things have kind of evolved. And I think what people find interesting or valuable has actually changed quite a bit over the years. And I want to talk a little bit about your events coming up, the one in Iceland and also the one in Austin, and sort of your perspective of things. But then also, I want you to tell me kind of like how you see things evolving for people in our space.
Yeah, the problem with events, back when we first started going to them, there's a couple a year. Like Amazing was doing them, and there's a few others here and there. Now it seems like there's one every week sometimes, and a lot of times they're poorly produced, they're poorly organized, they're the same speakers that just make the circuits, and because they're agency owners or whatever, and they're hustling for business, which is there's nothing wrong with that. Well, a lot of times it's the same presentations over, and part of the problem with events is you Titan does. I mean, you invited me out to Cancun last year for your event, which was amazing, and I was impressed with everything that Titan is doing and the way you guys broke everybody up into groups and the way you structure it. And you have Dan as your partner, who's like one of the smartest guys in the space, um, and you have a good team around you. Vanessa producing it and doing all the little things, and it's all in the little details. I was at Affiliate World 2 weeks ago before Funnel Hacking Live, and I just walk around. This is the biggest piece of SHIT event that I've been to, and I just all in the details. And a lot of people don't, when they put on events, they don't know how to do them. They don't know how to structure them. They don't know how to make them flow. They don't pay attention to some of the details. They cut corners, and it shows. And if you're in the event space, you see it immediately. If you're not, you may not pick up on it, but it's the overall feel. And so now there's so many events and they just kind of blend together. And when you go to an event and you listen to speakers up on stage, there's some really great speakers that give actionable tactical stuff. And then there's a lot of speakers they're just blowing smoke out their ass. And I call it corporate BS is what I call it. And it's a total waste of time. Everybody's on their phone. Nobody's paying attention. Half the room gets up and leaves. And so I think you're seeing a shift now. You guys are doing it with your based on what you've told me. I don't know the exact structure, but with your new Titan event, you guys are kind of on the cutting edge. Danny McMillan's doing it with Seller Sessions. He's not doing presentations anymore. I have an event called Market Masters that's happening in 2 days here in Austin. It's sold out. There is no presentations, and it's all focused on the person. So you go and you listen to 12 people speak at an event. There might be one or two of those that apply to your situation. And the others might be great and entertaining. You take some notes, and that's cool, but you can't really use it right now, depending on where you're at in your journey. Versus if you go to an event like what I think you guys are doing in a few weeks in Titan, what I'm doing with Market Masters and what Danny's doing is it's geared at the individuals. Like let's work on you. And when you leave, like in mine, it's a hot seat. So you sit in a hot seat for 2 hours at Market Masters, 2 hours and 15 minutes. And then I curate, I have something called the Dream 100, which are some of the top people in the space, and I'm constantly adding new people. I invite a bunch of them in, and then I invite a few other experts that aren't Dream 100 as well. And these people come in, they fill out a 30 question questionnaire about what are their pain points, what they need, what they're hoping to achieve. And then I go curate the Dream 100 and other people. If I'm missing a talent in the Dream 100, I bring in, they sit around the table. It's a private table for 2 hours and 15 minutes. In the first hour, is nothing. It's moderated. I moderate them, so it's nothing but questions. So no one person dominates. You have 7 experts that are curated based on their need, and then we take a break, and then we come back, and it's an hour of direct. You need to do this, this, and this. And each of these experts gets a dossier. It's like a 2-page document of the person in the hot seat, so they can go look at their website, they can go look at their Facebook, they can read about them, so they're not coming in blind and wasting time trying to get to know them. And it's I did the first one in September, and people were saying this style of event was the best that they've ever attended in any event, including my own BDSSs and everything. And I had people crying, getting out of the seat. Literally, $130 million seller came in wanting one thing, and after we started asking questions, like, we're not going to help you with that because that's useless. You need to fix this in your business. They went and bought me a gift and brought it back. They were so pleased. 2 other people cried at the end of it. It was so emotional. Like, I can't believe I had all these blind spots in my business. So I think that's where it's the smart people in the Amazon space, like you guys, like Titan, and like Danny's. Look, it appears based on what he's putting out for his event in May that he's doing, and what I'm doing with Market Masters is the direction it needs to go. And I think that's maybe why Funnel Hacking Live, we were just at, it was his last one. He said he's done 10 of them, and he announced he did a whole talk about it right before lunch the last day. How these big 5,000 person events are cool, but he sees the writing on the wall. It's got to shift. You look at traffic and conversion event that you and I have been to several times. It went out of business, and a lot of others are going out of business, and a lot of events are struggling to just get people to come because one, it's expensive by the time you add in airfare and hotel and stuff, and then a lot of people just they're not getting the value that they once got, and there's so many choices now, and that's where Titan, I think, is making a big strive to be different. And what you guys do is different than anybody else in the space. That's what I'm trying to do with BDSS. And that's why added Elevate 360, which you spoke at last year and did an awesome job, which is gets outside of this Amazon box. And that's part of the problem, I think, is so many people in our space are focused on Amazon and all they do is Amazon. They live and breathe Amazon. But as you very well know, when you go to a Funnel Hacking Live or you go to a YouTube event or you go to what's that one in South Carolina? You went to the business training or entrepreneur, the thing. You bring that stuff back to your core business is still Amazon, but you bring that stuff back and it just makes you so much better and more well-rounded as a person, as an entrepreneur. And that's where a lot of the cool ideas come from. And that's what leaders do is they stay a step ahead of everybody else.
Love that. Yeah, I agree. And I was thinking about like some of the most successful Titan members and the people who in our industry thrive. And there's a lot of talk about brand and about omni-channel and about like certain differentiators that you can really tell when someone has like a full-on business and they're a true entrepreneur. And those people are attracted to things like mindset. They're attracted to things about learning more about being a leader. And they go to these events and they learn about like all kinds of topics that are beyond just like the hacks. And I think that that really is where these businesses need to be and where they need to go in order for them to continue to thrive and not just stay in what was successful 10 years ago. Kevin, actually, I wanted to ask you something, okay? Because we talked
Mhm.
about this the other day. So people see Titan, right? And they know of me, they know of Dan, and they see some of like our marketing or whatever. But unless you've actually been to a member event and you're one of the only people that we've invited to be a speaker on our stage that is not part of Titan because of how much we value you and what you bring to the table, right? But I remember you walking in and going like, "Whoa, like I didn't expect this." Tell me what you think people perceive versus what is reality of what's inside when you actually go to Cancun or one of our events.
I think people just think it's another mastermind or some sort of version of a mastermind. And some people look at it, oh, that's expensive. That's an expensive thing to join. But I'm in a $35,000 a year mastermind, not in the Amazon space, but in another space, and it's the value and how it's structured. And you guys were providing one of the things that I liked is well organized. Vanessa does an awesome job with you and everybody else. And so I appreciate that when it's very well thought out and it's all little details, even to something that's on the table, those things matter. I mean, it doesn't matter. Everybody's not paying attention to that like me or you were, but
Mhm.
it's the overall feel and comfort and style and what your expectations. And when you get there, the way you guys, a lot of times people just lump everybody into the same group. And there's some talks that go over the head of other people, but y'all had a whole separate room for all the beginners. And then you had the other people in another room, and then you did these breakouts, and you have I don't know what y'all call them, huddles or the different levels of
Yeah.
groups. Depending if you're a million or less, it's this. If you're I don't know the numbers, but 1 to 2 million, you're this, and so on. And that's good. And so, and then you would mix them. So it's good to be with people that are at your level, so you can grow together. But it's also you always want to be with someone that knows more than you, one step ahead. So y'all would do stuff where you would mix the $2 million people with the 5 million or $10 million people because those people are a step ahead and they can learn from those, which is really good. And then the content was actionable. You know, you go to a lot of events and it's just people that are talking aren't doing it. They're not selling or they sold 5 years ago and they saw some LinkedIn posts and watched some YouTube videos and their buddies are telling them this is what's cool in it, and they try to do a presentation on it, and it's okay information, but they're actually not doing it. And you can just tell your speakers are actually in the weeds doing it, and they're saying, you know, y'all went into detail, and you know, some people it's boring on PPC, and but y'all went into detail. I think it was Jason and a couple other people broke down this whole framework that you have for PPC, and it was like step by step. And if you couldn't follow that, you need to go back to elementary school or something. But you broke it down,
Like,
and you know, it's not the exciting flashy stuff sometimes, but it's the core fundamental things that you really need. And you guys do it on webinars when you do these challenges. And I think y'all just did one last year. It was like 8 or 9 weeks of money
cash flow.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
cash flow and
cash
like
flow.
breaking it down. CM, y'all call it CM 1, 2, 3 or something like that. I watched a
Contribution
couple.
margins. Yeah, we have one, two, and three so that you really know your numbers and you can make
So
accurate
that
decisions.
that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, you're actually showing that's real stuff, not fluff. Not yeah, TikTok's a great place to sell. Here's how you open a TikTok shop, and you should yeah, you can sell. But you're like, here's how to get an influencer. This is what you say. This is where you go to find the 10. This is how you qualify them. This is how you do this. A lot of people don't go into that kind of detail, or they don't know how to do that because they're not doing it. So that was a big difference. And then you just have a really you I mean this is a lot of it's you is you just attract a certain type of person. You have this industry is not represented well in a lot of events by women. Your event is like half women, which is it was just nice to see because there's a lot of really smart women out there, and a lot of them just kind of stay behind the scenes, or they're taking care of kids at the same time they're running their business or whatever, so you don't see them as much, and so that's nice that there's a better mix too of smartness, and you're pulling some of the women, and you guys do some fun stuff like you did your dress up party, and you did the mermaid thing, and you
Yeah.
did all that kind of stuff. So you're mixing in business with pleasure and networking and bonding and fun, and that it's the same thing I try to do with BDSS. I mean, you've been to several BDSSs. Coming to
Yeah.
Iceland, I mean, you did the race that we did in Hawaii,
Oh my
so we
gosh.
mix in
Yeah.
a lot of cool stuff too.
I love that. Well, I think that we didn't get into this journey to just sit behind a laptop. You know, like the whole point of becoming an entrepreneur is to have like the freedom and control over your life. And then I see too many people that just kind of get stuck, at home and not connecting with people. And so I really think that when you create an environment like what you did, where people had to go in these small groups and they were going all around the island, you had to do all these like team games where you kind of had to become close like immediately. So I loved how, people were laughing, they were taking photos, they were going in the water with like weird swim gear, you know what I mean? And they had to like get these giant ice cream things. And like it seems like kind of silly and fun. But what I'm seeing and what I like to do as well, and we're very similar in this way, is you're breaking down those social barriers that people put up and you're making people kind of open up and connect. And it's in that connection where the real conversations happen. And it's in that connection that outside of the event, and people may or may not realize it, the content is extremely important. The experience is extremely important. But to me, the thing that keeps on giving are those relationships, right?
Yeah, I,
So,
I, I agree. I mean, if I got a affiliate commission for all the deals and that came out of a BDSS events, I hear stories still to this day. I started BDSS in 2019. I hear stories like I think it's Scott Northbound, who's part of does stuff with Titan. He told me a few months ago. He's like, yeah, I've done like 9 deals out of BDSS. I'm like, well, damn, dude. What you didn't even sponsor, and you just showed up, and you got 9 deals out of it. So that's the power. And then another, just to answer two things quickly on Hawaii, you forgot. Yeah, you did the race, but I think there was a group from some Titan group or something that won an AI contest or something that we
Oh,
did,
that's oh yeah. Oh yeah,
something
we
something like that. Where
that's right. We got top hack, we got top AI, and then Melissa Vong, who is one of our amazing experts within Titan. She won top speaker. And definitely, I'd say that we're all pretty competitive. So we were definitely like happy about that. Like, yeah, Titan, take it. It was great. And so, yeah, Dan's speaking at your next one.
so is Melissa.
And so is Melissa. Yeah. So
And
we're
Melissa's
super
coming
proud.
here in a couple days to the thing to my Market Masters hot seats as
Yeah.
well. So
Melissa's a
that
goddess. You know what's interesting, Kevin? I was sitting there in this funnel hacking thing, and he's talking about people being like the wild ones, the 1%, sort of the crazy ones, like that Steve Jobs quote about the people who kind of change the world because they're out there, right? And I was just thinking about the people that we connect with and the ones that really stand out and shine and they really like want to create that impact for everyone else. Like Melissa's such a good example of that. I mean, this woman, she's built like five extremely successful brands before even turning 30 years old. And yet, instead of just like enjoying the fruits of her labor, she's always like very willing to share, very willing to help. It's just like those are the kind of people that you bring through, that I bring through. And I think that connecting with people like that who know what they're doing, are in the trenches, developing things in real time, but yet have those hearts of gold, those are the unicorns. And it's just so important. It's so important to like connect with those kind of people. And those are the ones that we kind of go and like collect around the world. I mean, Melissa came to the first China Magic, her first China Magic, like 7 years ago. That's where we met. And we happened to have a tea party late at night. And then we decided to go get massages. And it was the weirdest experience. We were getting like yelled at this weird Chinese massage. I think you were there. And we
was
had these,
Melissa's with us on that. The Dan
yeah,
went too,
she
and
was with us. And that
he was
weird,
getting
this
yeah the little Chinese ladies liked him.
Yeah, they
But
were they were yelling at us to take showers, and we had these
oh,
weird
Melissa was at that
coconuts.
with us.
Yes, and she
Oh, I
and
didn't remember
and we
that.
weren't allowed to take photos of ourselves with the coconuts, and then we were like in
Yeah,
these
yeah, yeah,
weird
yeah,
things, and
yeah.
it was like a whole
It's like
thing.
two
But
o'clock in the
it's like
morning or something.
yeah, it was like some odd hour, but it sounds so silly, but it's those moments where you bond. It's those moments where you connect. And now, like, Melissa comes into Titan every week and she teaches a training about supplements and, all kinds of things that she does. And it's just like amazing to see how much she's grown over the last few years. But if it wasn't for that, like, late night tea party that led to like this weird, like, I don't know if we would have been as bonded or as connected. And that doesn't happen over Zoom, right? So I think it's just
No,
important. You've got to like kind of get in the trenches,
but
meet the people, what were we going to say?
what about the people that are listening to this? So, Kevin, Athena, that all sounds great, but I hate dealing with people. I hate networking. I hate being so it makes me uncomfortable, or I'm not good at going up and meeting somebody. I just rather sit back at my house with my dog and just sell my stuff online and watch Netflix. What would you say to those people?
I'm going to tell them the same thing that I told to my son. You met my son a few days ago. He is an absolute genius, brilliant young man. I'm so adore him. But for him, it doesn't come as naturally to like just go out and like talk to people, right? And I said to him, I said, son, one of the most valuable things that you'll ever do is connect with people who've been in an industry, who've had decades of experience, that you're able to, through that proximity, you could be more successful than someone, but they might have a talent in a certain way. Like you're cutting yourself off from the world by not putting yourself out there. And it might not come natural to you, but it's like a muscle that you have to exercise. I said, sometimes you have to go out there and you find just one person you feel comfortable with. And here's my opening line. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Tell me, tell me about yourself. If you're uncomfortable in any sort of social situation and you don't know what to say or what to do, I remember I used to do all of the networking events for Amazing Selling Machine. And I used to tell people, if you feel uncomfortable connecting, come close to the stage. I'm going to give you a tip. And I bring everyone really close to me. I say, okay, guys, ready for this? And make them take turns and actually like try this. You just walk up to someone, hey, tell me about yourself. Because then they get into whatever's like their core thing, right? Like if you say, tell me about yourself, I'd probably talk about my kids, my dogs, Titan, things that I love to do. If I ask you, like, hey, tell me about yourself, you probably go over, whatever's most core to your values or things that interest you. And sometimes you just have to get over it. and you just meet that one person, you connect with them, and then you feel like, okay, I got this. And then you go to the next person. And it is an art. I mean, networking is a thing. People dismiss it as just like, oh, shaking hands and handing a business card or saying hello or having a drink at one of those like corny networking things with the little tables. It's not that. Networking is creating actual deep relationships. And the only way to actually do that is A, be yourself, be willing to be uncomfortable, find out more about that person, and then actually stay in touch with them past the point of being at that event.
My version of that is instead of telling me about myself, I say, "What's your story?"
There you go. I like that.
That's
What's your
my ver
story?
That's my story. What's your story? You introduce
Yeah.
me to somebody. We're standing around in a hallway. Hey, Kevin, meet Mike. Hey, Mike, how you doing? And maybe you turn to continue talking on with whoever you're talking to, and so I look at Mike and it's like instead of do do do. So Mike, what do you do? I was like, Mike, nice to meet you. So what's your story? And people then it lets them talk about themselves, which is the easiest thing for people to talk about. It breaks the ice, and you can find if you listen, you can find similarities or commonalities, and you can go dive in on those. But going in person, though, there's something people are like, well, why do I need to go in person? I can meet people in Zoom calls, or I can meet people in chat and Facebook, or I can get this same content by just watching online. I don't have to put my pants on. I can just stay in the house in bed and watch this stuff. But there's something about, especially in today's world where things are getting less and less personal with AI, in real life or IRL events, I think are going to become even more important. And I think there's going to be a shift in the way they're done, which you guys are starting to do. I'm starting to do, and like I said, Danny's starting to do. It appears in our space as a start. I think there's going to be a shift, but there's something just about being human to human. It's something about just you know shaking someone's hand or just being across from another human that's breathing, than just having the exact same conversation on Zoom. And then there's other opportunities that come up. You go into lunch or you're going to dinner, you're walking like me and you walked and got a coffee. We were talking the entire way. And that wasn't a short walk, but it felt like it went by in like 20 seconds because we're having a really good engaged conversation and going to try to get this caught. You're not going to have that at other places, and you're not going to make those connections and those connections. Some of them turn into business partnerships, some of it turn into knowledge, some of it turned into other doors opening, like that dinner that I said. The guy brought in the other people, and then that led to another thing. You just never know where it's going to go. And you can't get that by being online for an hour on a Zoom call and then logging off when you're at an event. Another thing at events that helps me, I get a lot from, especially non-Amazon events, is I'm listening to the speakers. And, Funnel Hacking Live, there's probably three speakers that I thought were worth a damn. The rest were like not very good. But even when they're not very good ones, I'm sitting there brainstorming. Sometimes I'll get up and go network in the hallway, but a lot of times I sit there and some of my best ideas come in those moments because someone said something. It may be something I already know and I've heard it 20 times, but it just triggers in my mind and reminds me. And I'm like, oh, yeah, on YouTube, I actually, you know what? If I took that thing that I already knew and they just reminded me of it and mix it with this other thing the guy in the hallway said, and mix it with this other thing that I saw on the Titan webinar in December, I holy cow, I can do this, this, and this. It just happened last night with Norm is here, my buddy Norm, that we do the Marketing Misfits podcast together and Dragon. He came in a couple days early for my Market Masters event that's happening Thursday, so we could just brainstorm. And we were sitting there having a cigar as Misfits do at night, and having a cigar last night, just talking about different things. And he would bring up something, I'd bring up something, and then it would cue my memory. Oh, wait a minute, I was at this one. I talked to this girl Marley Jackson. She said this, and then this guy said this, and we start bouncing stuff off each other and putting stuff together. And like, holy cow, we need to do this, this, and this. You're not going to get that if you're not out there mixing with other smart people and other people that are like-minded like you. I mean, you go to family stuff and you can't really talk about Amazon and some of your family stuff or at your church or whatever. But when you do this type of stuff, I think we just lost your video, Athena. Hopefully, maybe she lost her internet. She was having some trouble with the internet, so hopefully it'll come back. But you don't get that kind of stuff when you're just sitting around, at your house. So that's a big. It looks like we lost Athena, but we're still live. We're still here, so hopefully she'll get back on. I know she was having some internet trouble a little bit earlier, so hopefully she'll get back on. She might have to go through her phone. There she is.
Sorry.
All right. I
Sorry.
was like, all right, I'll just keep talking.
Sorry about that. My internet's been a bit weird, but yeah. So you were telling me something, and then it got cut off. Go ahead.
Oh, I finished. They heard.
Oh, okay, perfect. Well, I'm glad that happened.
I
Well,
just
I wanted to concur on that. It's interesting because I had a very similar experience with funnel hacking. Russell Brunson was actually going through something that I instinctively know I've read 50 times, and I'm completely not doing today, right? You know what I mean? Like it's those
yeah.
things where it's like he was talking about the hero's journey. He was talking about using your story to empower others and certain things about the way that he does things. And I was like, I've heard him talk about that, many times. And I felt like I was very connected a few years ago, but then recently I've kind of veered off of it. And then I had, my God, hello, technical difficulties. Um, Sorry. Okay, let me give that to you again. Being in the moment where you're listening to somebody who might be saying something like you said that you've heard a million times, if you're able to wipe your mind clean and actually take that in a new moment in time, it is so incredibly powerful what that can do. Because sometimes, since we've been in an industry long enough, we feel like we know certain things, we kind of cut ourselves short from a lot of richness that can be in some of the simplest content. So I think it's really important. Like we have a group of 8-figure sellers that are coming to our Titan event in Cancun. I have the entire 17th floor as this ridiculous presidential suite with a swimming pool on the balcony. And that's where I'm hosting the Titan 8 crew. And one of the first things I want to talk to them about is like, look, you guys have hit crazy levels of revenue. You're doing tens of millions of dollars. Some of you are doing even 9 figures. But I want you guys to do something with me. Let's humble ourselves. Let's pretend like we don't, know all the things that we think we know. And let's be open and willing to sharing and to taking everything in. And if you can do that, it's amazing what you can avail yourself of because some of the most successful people I've ever met, they're always listening, they're always absorbing, they're always like trying to take it in.
Yeah, I agree. When you quit learning, you quit earning.
There you
Uh,
go. I
and
like
so
that.
that's and a lot of people they get to a level and they think I got this, I know everything, and you don't know everything. There's always someone that knows something that you don't know, and a lot of times it's someone that's doing a tenth of the revenue that you're doing.
Yes,
Uh,
because they're hungrier.
that they're hungrier and they just had different experiences in life, and they've done something, and maybe they just don't know. They have the great idea or the great strategy, but they just don't know how to execute it, or they don't have the money to execute it, or there's some resource that they're missing that you could come in and like expand on that or run with that or help them. Everybody in this business needs. That's one of the reasons I do what I do. People are like, Kevin, why don't you just sell? Why don't you do this freedom ticket? Why don't you do these events? I lost $70,000 on my first Market Masters event in September. $70,000. It was the first time anybody had done anything like this in space, and it's truly different. And everybody says, "Oh, our event's different. Our event's better. It's best." It's truly 100% different than anything that's out there. And I modeled it after something David Gonzalez at the Internet Marketing Party does. I went to one of his, and I was like, "This is brilliant. I'm gonna do this in Amazon space and put my twist on it." But at that event, I people didn't know what it was, so nobody would pay. They're like, I tried to get $5,000 a ticket, and people were like, I don't get this. The experts came because they trusted me. So the experts are like, yeah, we'll go to any. We've been to BDSS. We know Kevin's events are always top notch. I don't know what I'm getting into here. I don't know what this is. Some mansion in Austin. I'll give it a shot. And every single one of them, they came for free. I mean, they pay their own airfare. I put them up and fed them, but 'cause I have my chef there, and I have my masseuse there, and my trainer there and stuff. So they got pampered, but they had to get themselves there. And they're sitting on four out of the 12 hot seats that we do. They sit on three or four of them. These are people that charge, in some cases, Steve Simons and thousands of dollars an hour. Other people, and they're giving free advice. And then these people can go and hang out with them during lunch and ask additional questions. And you're just not going to get that anywhere. But I couldn't sell it, so I had to lower the price to 2 grand just to fill the seats. And at the end of the day, literally lost $70,000 on it. And people look at me, Kevin, why don't you do something that actually makes money? I said, I do enough other things. The newsletter that I do makes money, and then, I do other things. But this is helping people. I genuinely want to help people. Everybody needs a little pushing hand. Everybody needs a little help. And there's one girl there who's doing like 600,000 a year, and in her session, she was fighting back to what the experts were saying. They're saying, you need to not do this. And she was getting defensive. At the end of it, And the expert stood up and basically told her, if you keep doing what you're doing, you will have no business. You will be out of business in a year. At the end of it, she walked away and cried. And I remember one of the other experts found her over in the corner crying. He's like, "Are you okay?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm okay." She's like, "I'm sorry, we had to be a little harsh or whatever." She's like, "No, that was the most amazing, effing awesome thing I've ever freaking done. It's exactly what I needed." And that to me is a reward. And then when another guy comes to the event and he sits in a hot seat and he has a supplement brand. It's like a $20 million supplement brand, and he had been down for 8 months, doing everything he could to try to get this brand back up. He's from the UK, and just hitting dead ends. Had hired all the different agencies that helped do that. Nothing happening, and someone there told him, "You need to do this. You need to go to Accelerate. You do this, this, and this." He went to Accelerate. The second day of Amazon Accelerate, he posted in the WhatsApp group that we have for the event. The dude's crying. He's a grown man, big hefty dude, man. He's crying. It's like, "Thank you to everybody. If I had not made that decision to come to Austin, um, this wouldn't have happened. My account just got turned back on just this morning. I did what you guys said. The only other time I've cried in my life was when my daughter was born. And that's the reward to me. That was worth losing 70 grand.
Yeah.
This one I'll break even. Next one, but it's giving back, and you do that with Titan. I mean, you genuinely, there's some people that um, in any business, there's people that may not be your crowd or may not be your audience, and that's okay. And you don't have to please everybody. But what you guys do at Titan is you take people under your wings and you really genuinely try to help them. It's not just let me pay me the X amount of dollars to join the group, and thank you very much. Hope you enjoy the replays that are in there. Show up live when you want, but you guys follow up with them. Hey, why weren't you there? Are you coming to Cancun? You need to be there. You need to do this, and you're actually genuinely care about the people, and that's hard to find. Where people a lot of times it's just about the money or about themselves, and that's not the case from what I experienced at Cancun, at Titan, and what I know of some of the stuff that's going on with some of the other people that teach in Titan.
Thank you, Kevin. That means a lot. And yeah, we really care a lot. And what you said about creating impact for us, that's what it's all about. So we're gonna create a lot of impact, Kevin, in 2025, which I'm excited for. So let's put out some dates here. Um, Market Masters, it's sold out on, and
If
that's in
someone wants to come, if you're listening to this in the last minute, you can get here Thursday or Friday of this week. It's like in 2 days.
Mhm.
The hot seats are sold out. You can come as what's called an audience member. It's 3 grand to do that. But you come and you get to hang around with 55 of the smartest people in the space, including 28 Dream 100 people. Or that's the top 1%. Uh, and you get to watch some. So out of these 12 hot seats, I think 8 of them said they'll open it up. So these are not on a stage, not like chairs on a stage. This is like in a private building outside the mansion, set up like a conference room, and then it's really cool setting. And then there's some couches, literally couches, like in like a little living room, almost kind of behind this conference room. And so, as an audience member, you can sit in those and watch the 8 that are open that they don't want to shut. They don't want them to be private, and you learn just as much off of those, if not even more, than your own. And so that's available. And then $1 billion Seller Summit Iceland is which you'll be at, and Dan speaking, and Melissa speaking. I know Michelle does some stuff for you guys. She'll be there too. Um, that's April 4th to the 9th in Iceland. And there's still tickets available at $1 billion sellersummit.com. And then right after that, I do the Elevate 360, which hopefully you're coming to. I hope. Hope you and Dan are coming because in that one, it's not Amazon. We switched to the Blue Lagoon. It's a much smaller, like 45, 50 people event. And we have the number one guy in Google, $2,500 an hour to hire him. He's widely considered the top Google expert in the world, showing you how to do everything for Google. We have Daryl Ives, who's considered the top YouTube expert in the world, that basically is a lot of the brains behind Mr. Beast's success on YouTube. It knows the algorithm backwards and forwards. And we have top Facebook people like Rachel Miller, and we have it's just Jesse Elder, and just the list just goes on.
Love it.
So all that information's at $1 billion sellersummit.com.
I love it. Okay, so do you want to hear the themes and what we're doing in Cancun there, Kevin?
Yeah, I can't wait.
So
I
you can
gotta know
get
what I
ready.
gotta
So you can get
buy. What
ready.
what last year I had to go
Okay,
buy a
so
under the sea outfit. So this year, what I gotta go buy is something with
yeah,
flames on it.
so here's the thing. In the beginning, when we did our first event in Orlando for Titan, we opened it up to the general people, right? And then we had a member part of it and we had a non-member part of it, right? And we did that 2 years in a row, but our Titans kept asking us if we would just do only members. Because the thing about Titan members is that they are connecting with our tool set. They speak the same language, they're really on the same page, and they have sort of like a certain culture. So this Cancun event is Titan only, and it's very interesting. And I'm sure you experienced this, like even just the initial cocktail hour, that's on the first night, which is the 10th of March. You show up and you're overseeing this gorgeous ocean. I mean, the most beautiful ocean. And you walk around and it's just the energy of the humans and how inviting they are and how open they are and how there's like, these extremely successful people, but they're just like, that there's no ego, which is like so different than a lot of the events that you see out there. Usually the guys at the top are the ones with the biggest ego. I feel like with us, it's like flipped. Like the most successful people are the most humble and kind. And so that first night, there's the cocktail hour, and then we're having dinner based on levels. So everyone's going to go to and this resort has 8 different restaurants. So there's a French restaurant, a steakhouse, a teppanyaki. Oh, there's one on the beach, which is like a taco thing. So it's like this Mexican restaurant. So then there's all these swimming pools and there's dolphins in the swimming pool. And it's just like this gorgeous thing, as you know, but for those who hadn't heard of it. And so that first night, it's a cocktail hour, it's a dinner. And then the next 3 days, we are doing a unique set of different things. So there's going to be some breakout rooms by topic that are actual workshop. And we have surveyed down to every single human, what are their pain points? What are the things that they need the most help with? And we're flying in around 25 experts slash leaders. Yourself's going to be there, which is fantastic. And so people are going to get actual one-on-one. So for example, we have one of the top Shopify experts in the world. This guy has scaled Amazon brands to 8 figures on Shopify. He's taken people off of just Amazon onto Shopify and scaled them up. His name is Joe. We're flying him in from the UK, and he's going to be doing one-on-one with people to really help them to see if that makes sense, if they're already on Shopify, how to blow them up, and if they're not, if it makes sense. We've got TikTok, we have Amazon coming. Amazon proper is actually going to be there. So we have all these different experts. We have people who do financing. We have all kinds of people that we've kind of brought together so people get a lot of that one-on-one help. We've got all of our PPC guys. Our team is going to be there. So we're going to get a lot of like individual help. And then we're doing mastermind style as well as content, as well as hot seats. So it's sort of like a combo of the few things. But then in between, we have our beach party, our pool networking. And on the first night, you have to have your costume ready. We're doing a Mayan themed, sort of jungle Mayan themed night, right? And so it's going to be like the elements and it's going to be absolutely gorgeous up on that top place. And so that's the first night. The second night, we're going to be doing fuego, which is zip lining over fire and swimming in eco caves, which is going to be great. For those of you that are a little too not as adventurous, they can stay behind and have a family dinner. But if you want to come with us, we're going to be like zip lining over fire, which is going to be fantastic. And then the third and last night of the event is our gala. And the theme of this gala is Unleash the Fire Within. So it's going to be kind of like a fire gala. So you have to have like reds and oranges and golds, and it's going to be just like absolutely stunning. We have a lot of surprises, and that's like the final night. So the content's going to be on fire, yeah, as well as the gala. And then, as I said, for my top guys, my 8 figure guys, I booked the top suite, the presidential suite, which is an entire floor of the hotel. So they're going to be very comfy over there. And then one of the mornings, I'm bringing all my girls, and we're going to be doing face masks and girly stuff up in the suite and having mimosas. And so one of those mornings is just for the ladies. Sorry, I'm sure you can have some time with the guys having cigars and all that. But one of the mornings we're going to be ordering room service up in my suite, and we're going to be doing girly things because I love how many females we have in Titan. So that is our member only mastermind. You can go to titancancun.com. There's plenty of people, friends of mine, who have been kind of curious what Titan is. And I actually, Mariana, a friend of ours, was at the funnel hacking and she just signed up to come to Cancun. She's not a Titan, but I actually comped her a month of Titan for her to actually get situated. So she's going to actually get to learn about our content and kind of get connected before the event. So if there's anyone that's curious about coming with us, this is our final Cancun, by the way, the same way that funnel hacking did their final 10th anniversary one, right? This is the last time that we do it at this particular resort. and we're going to be changing things up next year. I'm going to be making some announcements, but people have seen that epic place. This will be our fifth one in a row that we've done there. And so if any of you guys have always been curious of like, what the heck do they actually do in there and want to get that hands-on help and connect with all the amazing people, then you can go to titancancun.com. And there's no way to book it. You have to schedule a call because we are an invite-only network, but you can schedule a call and see if it's a good fit. Yeah, but that's the final thing. So I think your orange jacket, Kevin, would work really well for that final
I
night.
might
I'm
have to
just
bring
saying.
that. I have to bring that. I have one question though for you about it.
Yeah.
Have you bought your dresses yet?
Oh my God. So I have three dresses downstairs, and I just don't know. Yeah. I just don't know. This is like kind of an epic moment. It's the final gala at this place. I mean, where we're gonna go next year fits Titan so beautifully, and it's gonna be outrageously amazing. Like it'll probably be my favorite event of my life next year. So I'm not like sad because I know we're gonna bring it hard next year. Actually, I'll just say it. You know, we're gonna go next year, Kev.
Well, no. Where are you going?
Just take a guess. Where would be the most amazing place that would fit Athena and
Oh,
Titan?
you gonna do it in Greece? Wow. On the mainland or on one of the
We're
islands?
we're looking at resorts. It's going to be an all-inclusive in Greece.
That'll be awesome. Greece is amazing.
Yeah, so I
Greece is
think
amazing.
that's why like I'm sad about Cancun, but I know next year we're gonna be just fine. But Cancun is like just such an amazing experience. You're gonna be there, and I love the fact that like when you're with us, like you're not putting on the event, so you get to like hang out and connect with people and stuff, and it's just so great to have you. I'm trying to get Norm there. If he's hearing us right now, Norm, you better show up. You can't miss this. Norm has never been to a Titan event. I mean, he's been to a Titan event, actually. He's spoken at our
He,
events, but he's never
he
been
went
to
to
like
one in
a Cancun.
Toronto, I think.
Yeah, and he did an amazing job, but I'm trying to get him to come to Cancun because, it's a special thing. And you need your,
I'll talk to him. He's in the next room right here, staying with me right now.
tell him to come in. Say, Norm, get in here. Um, can he hear you?
Yeah, okay. Hey Norm. Hey Norm. Oh, he's on a webinar. Sorry,
Oh, never mind.
he's in my podcast studio. That's why I'm in my office.
Oh,
He's actually
really?
doing a webinar for retail something or another.
Oh gosh.
So
Okay.
yeah,
Well,
sorry.
I really hope you can come and we'll have cigars ready for you. There's this whole section, I don't know if you remember. Um, sorry, there's a whole section that has these like fire pits. Do you remember
Yeah,
that place? They're
yeah,
like these
yeah.
fire pits with these beautiful like seats, and then they do fireworks over there. So I was thinking like
Oh, it's a
if you
nice
guys
resort. It's very nice.
if you guys are gonna do a Market Masters cigar thing, I think it should be there. And so we could we could
Well,
podcast
we're actually
live.
doing your neck of the woods. We're actually doing a CMS event. Speaking of events, we didn't even talk about this. We have Norm and I do something called Collective Mind Society. That's what CMS stands for.
Mhm.
And the idea is to do something that's no presentations. It's just entrepreneurs hanging out together. And we did the first one at F1 2 years ago here in
Mhm.
Austin. So we got a big $70,000 private bungalow right on turn one. And then we went to all the concerts, VIP. We did 5-star dinners. We did, of course, a cigar night because that's part of the theme. And then this last year in August, we did a train trip across Canada, across the Canadian Rockies. Started in Vancouver and ended up to Lake Louise and then to Calgary. 12 people, and all just having fun together. Mariana was on that trip with us, and that was a blast on this two deck glass top train going through the Rocky Mountains with rivers and waterfalls and everything. It's really cool. And we're doing one in Tampa, in your neck of the woods,
Oh my gosh.
in October. We're doing it cigar based because, yeah, I called. Are you on the webinar? Oh, sorry. I forgot,
Norm,
but she
Norm,
wants to say hi. You're live.
Norm.
Who is
Hi,
that?
You gotta
Norm.
get down so she
I
can.
can't see your face.
Here,
Hi,
there you
Norm.
go. Guess who? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
I was just talking to Kevin about events, and we're talking about Billion Dollar Summit, and we're talking about Cancun. And I was like, we've got to get Norm to come. And then he's like, well, Norm's in the other room. I'm like, perfect. I'm just going to put him on the spot. Norm, you got to
That's
come
what
to
I'm loving it.
Cancun.
I would love to go. I just don't know. There's a
Okay.
stretch of event, and I love to go. I just don't know if I can.
He's just
Okay,
got to get Connie to come with him to go get out of this.
Well,
He
that's
came here
true.
from 6 feet of snow from Toronto, where the plane turned upside down yesterday.
are you kidding me?
Yeah,
Not his plane,
not
but
mine, but
a Delta plane had a crash in Toronto yesterday, and so it's like, come to Cancun where it's warm.
Yeah, come to Cancun where it's warm, aqua oceans, dolphins. It's gonna be
And
fantastic.
she just said we can smoke cigars by the fire pits.
So there's a part of the resort that I'm in love with that has these fire pits right by the ocean, and it's just like beautiful. And they put like fireworks and stuff. It's like it's an epic sort of corner of the resort. And I thought that is the perfect place for the guys to have their cigar moment, right? So we can do
what about
that.
on your balcony? Is that okay?
She's got the
Yes.
presidential suite.
Yes.
There we
Okay,
go.
so my presidential suite, you get up to the 17th floor, the elevator opens, and that is my suite. Like there's nothing else
Oh.
but the suite. And so there's this huge couch that fits like 40 people. There's like a whole kitchen dining area. There's a pool on the balcony. There's several bedrooms, and I have a Greek bathtub, obviously, because that's important. But yeah, that's where the 8-figure guys are going to be hanging out. So you guys can come up there with us. And
Perfect.
I have my new Titan 8 group. It's 8, but it's like with the 8 on the side, like infinity, right? That's kind of cute. And so yeah, you have to
It's
come.
good to be the queen, isn't it?
Yes. I
You
got
know-
to get back to
You
the
You know,
podcast.
somebody's got to. There you go, Norm.
Oh, I have to get one. All right,
right,
I'll
see
see you
ya.
later.
Bye, Norm. Love you. That was fun. Okay, well, we're gonna get him. We're gonna get him. He needs to be there. Anyway, all right, Kev. Well, this was fun. I like how it's just like hanging out and just talking about stuff because
Yeah, I love
know?
it too. It's always good to see you. Always good to talk, and I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to seeing you in a couple weeks in on the 10th of March in Cancun.
yeah, I hope people watching like one thing. I mean, we're a great example. I met you what 8 years ago or whatever it was at an event, right? We had a conversation. We stayed in touch. We saw each other at other events, and we've done co-events together. We've hosted dinners together. Like we've done a lot of things that have been very helpful for both of us. The collaborations have been great, and we've actually impacted so many people because we've done these collaborations. So I think that people need to see. Like I met Dan at Traffic and Conversion, right? He's my business partner. There would be no Titan if it wasn't for my ability to bring people together and his brain and how he's being able to like put that strategy in place, right? So like that connection would have never happened. I would have met some of my closest friends in the entire world. And I just see that so much at your events, at my events, at events in general, that you're just sitting next to someone and you've got to be willing to be vulnerable. You have to be willing to be open. You have to be willing to help people and not just try to, I hate those people that go and, oh, hi, what can you do for me lately kind of people, right? Like you need to go in there to show value. But if people just realize how much they can learn by being in the room with people that have already had all these experiences, that they don't have to have the same scars to reach that success, I think people would just like show up a lot easier than they do sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
awesome.
crazy.
Well, it's been great chatting, and I've got to
Yeah.
run. I've got another call I got to run to, but it's been awesome.
Yeah, no, it's been amazing. And I look forward to seeing you I was gonna sneak by Austin, but I don't think I'm gonna make it. But I will see you in Cancun, and then I will be at the $1 Billion Seller Summit. Can you remind people
I
who
mean,
are not on your
we're doing a party Saturday night. If you want to sneak out for it, we're doing a cool little party Saturday night at the mansion. You're more than welcome.
That's awesome. Well, I sometimes fly by just for a party. But Kev, I do,
You
Kevin.
do. That's why
I
I'm
do,
laughing.
legit.
I've seen it.
But one last thing before you go, how do people connect with you, your newsletter, you in general? How do they find you?
Well, the best thing to do is just go to Billion Dollar Sellers. You see it up on the screen there by my name, billiondollarsellers.com. And that'll get you on the sign up for my free newsletter. It comes out every Monday and Thursday. About 25,000 people get that every Monday and Thursday. It's the latest actionable, tactical stuff in the Amazon world. It's not a promotional email with a bunch of just bragging. It's like tactical stuff and the latest news. That's the best way. And then once you're on that, you'll learn everything else I'm doing.
I love
Or you
it.
Or you can follow
Okay,
me here on
great.
LinkedIn or Facebook. If you just hit that, subscribe or follow button here on Facebook or LinkedIn or wherever you're watching this stream right now, and that'll work too.
Perfect. Okay, awesome, Kevin. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.